Good morning. If you can hear me, please type in the chat and let me know that you can hear me and that my volume is good. Can everyone hear me? Let me know by typing yes in the chat and let me know if my volume is loud enough. If not, let me know and I'll increase my volume. Can everyone hear me? If you can, please type yes in the chat. Let me know if my volume is good. Good morning. Can you please let me know whether or not you can hear me by typing in the chat? Good morning, Cheryl. How are you today? Good. I'm glad that everyone can hear me. How is my volume? Do I need to increase it? If so, please let me know. Okay, great. We'll get started in just a few minutes. We just have a few more minutes and we'll get started. Please let me know whether or not you can see my screen by typing yes in the chat box. Great. Thank you, Shannon. Okay, good morning, and thank you for attending the webinar on Windows 10 techniques. My name is Cynthia Proctor. I'm the coordinator for technology training, and I really appreciate you joining us today. So what we're going to do in this webinar, we're just going to go over some of the features of Windows 10. We're going to give you what we call a little sneak peek of what's to come. I just want to let you know that this webinar is being recorded. So in the future, should you want to review it, it will be available, and I will tell you where you can find it at the end of the webinar. If you have any questions, you can type them into the chat box, and I'll try to address them as we go along. However, there should be time at the end for questions and answers. Normally, I have dual monitors, but because I'm working on Windows 10, I just have the one monitor today, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm able to look at the chat at the same time as I'm going through the webinar. So I may not see the questions right away. Okay, just to let you know, during the session, you'll be introduced to the Windows 10 interface, some of the features that are available in Windows 10, how to navigate in Windows 10, as well as how to locate additional training resources available in Ask PGCC. And now I would like to know from you, what are your goals or expectations Basically, why are you taking this session? So if you could type that in the chat box, I'd appreciate it. Let me know what it is that you would like to get out of this session. Okay, great. Thank you, Melissa. Okay, thank you, Cheryl. Okay, become more familiar with the features. Okay, great, Shannon. Okay. Okay, all right, great. Okay, so just getting an idea why you're taking it and what you hope to gain from it gives me an idea. Now, again, I want to point out that this is just a sneak preview. We will be going to Windows 10 at the college in the fall of this year. So 2019, in the fall, we will be going to Windows 10. So until that time, this is just to kind of whet your appetite to show you what's to come. So in the fall, there will be additional training. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize everything here and just show you my desktop. Pretty much looks similar to what you see with Windows 7. Now, notice here in the taskbar, I'm going to point out to you just a little bit, but let's take a step back and just talk a little bit about Windows 10. Windows 10 is the latest release of Microsoft's Windows operating system, and it's the successor to Windows 8. Now, Windows 10 is for personal computers, tablets, and embedded devices, etc. It's faster and more secure, so they say, than Windows 7. So in today's webinar, we're just going to take a look at some of the features that you are going to see coming in the fall. First, let's take a look at the Start button or the Start menu. It's different than what you see with Windows 7. It just looks like the Windows icon. So when I click on it, up comes the Start menu. Now, if you have Windows 10 at home, it may look different. There are some features that we have turned off, so it may look a little different than what you see at home, should you have that. Or even in the, I believe it may look even different than in the computer labs. So as you notice here, you see a list of the applications. Now, what you're seeing are these are called, as they call them, universal apps. These are programs that can be used across all compatible Microsoft Windows devices. That's PCs, tablets, smartphones, etc. Now, you can locate apps by scrolling. As you see here, they are in alphabetical order, except for the ones at the top that says recently added. If you scroll down, they're in alphabetical order. Or what you can do is search. So down at the bottom where you see the magnifying glass, it allows you to search Windows. So if I'm looking for a specific app, I can just type it in and then find it that way. So that's the easy way to find an app. Now, if I go click back on my Start menu, over here, you will notice that I have a couple of buttons. The first button, this is how you sign out. Once you log into the computer, it should show you your name when you hover over it. But when you want to sign out and leave the computer up, you're not shutting down. It's basically the same thing as logging out. You would click on that button and then choose sign out. If someone else wanted to log into the machine, they could click switch account and then it would allow them to log in. The next button that you have is for settings. So if you click on the gear button, it will bring up the settings window. Now this probably looks a lot different than what you're used to, especially when it comes to what you're used to in Windows 7. If you would prefer, you could still use the control panel feature, but you would search for it. So again, you would click on the magnifying glass and then type in control, and notice that you have the option for control panel app. So if you click on that, this will allow you to see that familiar window that you used to in Windows 7. So I can close that. Now, if you want to get familiar with using the Windows setting feature, you can just go in to do certain things like, let's say, personalize. You want to go to personalization so that you can personalize your Windows 10 environment. One of the things I'm going to do is just show you how to go into personalize my start menu. So I click on start over on the left-hand side. Now, one thing to point out, if you notice at the top, under where it says start, there's an asterisk there that says some settings are hidden or managed by your organization. These are some features that we have turned off in our environment, so you would not be able to turn them on. But what I'm going to do is I like to see my most used apps. So I'm able to turn that feature on. So when I turn it on, I will now see, and I'm going to close this and come back to my start menu, and notice that I now have under recently added most used. So if there are applications that you use on a regular basis, that might be a feature that you may want to turn on. Let's go back to our buttons over here. We took a look at our account button, our settings button. Now let's talk about the power. That looks like the button you're used to seeing, where it looks like the power button. When I want to actually shut down or restart my machine, I click on that button. Now, we've already taken a look at how to search Windows. When we click there, we can search for apps or files, anything like that, and it will do the same thing as you are familiar with in Windows 7. The next button here, this is new, and this is called the task view. Now, when you turn this on, notice what you see. What the task view does for you is it allows you to quickly locate open windows, quickly hide all windows, show the desktop, manage multiple windows, and what the new feature is a virtual desktop. So if I wanted to use that feature, if you notice here, over in the lower right-hand corner, there's for new desktop. I can create what's called a virtual desktop, which will allow me to manage these windows, maybe a little bit more efficiently. So what I can do is create a new desktop. Now I see I have desktop 1 and desktop 2. When you hover over them, you will see what's there. Now when I go back to desktop 1, and let me go back to that view, I took myself out of task view. If I want to manage these open windows and put some of the open windows I have in another desktop, what I can do is just drag them. So if I wanted this document, I could drag it to desktop 2. Now when I hover over desktop 2 and switch to it, I'll just see that I took myself out of the view. So if you see when I hover, it shows me what is in each one of those desktops. So I can drag and manage the desktop this way. So if I said, oh, okay, I want to put this over here in that, just drag it till you see it actually go into it. Now this one might be oh, that's my meeting, so that might not be easily done. And this can be a little tricky. It's not cooperating with me, as we know how things work. I'm trying to drag that in there. There we go. Now you can see it now. When I hover over desktop 2, I have those two windows in desktop 2. Whenever you want to exit and close a desktop, all you have to do is click on the X, and then it closes that virtual desktop. The windows are still open, and notice that I have all of my open windows that I had before. So this is just a way to manage multiple windows. And so that is a new feature. All right, now I can just go back and just click anywhere to go out and to exit out of my task view. And now here I am, and I'm just looking at my desktop. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people the way I really like to use shortcut keys. So I will always do certain things by just using a shortcut key. And one of your shortcut keys that you can use is the Windows key. So there are a lot of combinations that you can use with the Windows key. So if I wanted to look at my File Explorer or look at my my drives or my document, my computer basically, I can press the Windows key, and that is on your keyboard at the lower left-hand side where you see that little Windows icon button, and press the letter E, and up comes my File Explorer. So I like to do that. Also, and this is something that you can also use in Windows 7. Also, instead of pressing Control-Alt-Delete and then locking my screen, I press Windows and the letter L to lock. And that will just quickly lock my screen like that. Then I press Control-Alt-Delete, and then I can then log back in. So I use a lot of those. Now, one of the things you will notice about File Explorer that is new, you now have a ribbon up here at the top, which looks pretty much familiar with all of Microsoft's different applications. When I look, I have different tabs where I can see the different ribbons, what's available to you. There may be some things that are grayed out, but when I go to view, if I want to see it in icons, just hover over, and then you can choose the different view for your window here. So if I just prefer tiles, or I just wanted the medium icons, I can then hover over and then click on those. You will also notice that there is a quick access toolbar that you'll find up here that you can customize. Right now it just has a few things on, properties, new folder, and so forth. I can put on the undo, the redo, delete, so forth. So this is a way that you can customize your File Explorer window. And then there's also another feature, and this is down at the very bottom of the window in the lower right-hand corner. You will notice there are two buttons there. This is your display settings. I can click on display here, or I can click on display items by using large thumbnails. So you have these options here in the lower right-hand corner. All they control are just your display settings. All right, I'm going to minimize this. Next on our taskbar here, you will see that we have Edge. This is Windows 10's new web browser, Edge. Edge's performance is faster and it has improved features over that of Internet Explorer. Now, in our environment, we may be defaulting to Chrome. However, Edge is available as a web browser you can use. And there are some nice features when you're using Edge. So we'll take a look at a few while we're here. And I'm going to go to, let's see, Washington Post. All right. Now, on the top here, you'll notice there are a number of buttons here. We're going to take a look at a couple. Now, this one is Reading View. Now, if I turn that feature on, I'm able to, and let's see, it's doing something here. It'll be one of those things, I'm not necessarily sure that it may work here. If you turn on Reading View, you can actually then have the page read aloud to you. So that is a feature that's available. It doesn't seem like it's going to actually do it here, but you could try it out. Again, sometimes there's some features that may be disabled, but Reading View is a nice feature. Any page that you're in Reading View, you can then go to the ellipsis here and turn on the feature where it says Read Aloud. So I kind of like that feature. But let's show you another one. And this one is where you can make annotations to a web page. So this little pen that you see, if I turn on that feature, notice now that I have a bar here at the top. The first item on there is for the ballpoint pen. If there's something I want to jot down and say, hey, I want to use this, I'm going to say, hey, check this out. Now that's kind of hard to read. Just know that. But you may just want to circle something just to point out something. The next item is for highlighting. Maybe you just want to highlight something. And you can do that. Now, if you messed it up, there's always the eraser. So I can erase what I don't like. I can erase all. If I click, I can erase all ink. I can also turn on the add a note. If I want to add a note to something, I can say, I want to add a note right here. And just type in what I want to say. Now you would figure, since we can do all of this is great. There's one last little thing before we go on to show you what you can do once you've made your annotations to a web page. And that is, now maybe I want to do a clip. So maybe I just wanted to get this picture right here. And I want that clip. I've copied it to the clipboard. And I can use that. Now with all of this, you would figure that now, and I'm going to turn that one off. What can I do with this once I've done all of this? I could then take this, once I get out of this, turn this off. I could then save this. So I can save the notes that I just made. All these annotations that I've made to this page, I can click on save. And hold on just a second, I can't see everything on my window. And I can save this. I'm going to move this out of the way. I can save this to my reading list. I can save it to OneNote or to my favorites. So these are some of the things I can do. Or I can share this with someone. So if I click on share, I can copy the link. I can share this by email and even OneNote and so forth. So there's a number of different things I can do once I've made these annotations. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to save this to my reading list. So I'm going to click on reading list and save. Now that I've done that, I can close out of my annotations mode, and it takes me back to just the web page. But now to see what I saved, I come to my favorites. I click on my favorites. Then I would just click on my reading list here, and here's my annotations that I just saved. So it's a feature. Maybe you want to use it, maybe not. But this is available to you in Edge. Now, in addition to that, we're going to click back on our ellipsis button here, which is for settings and more. And here's how I can go in and organize my favorites, find something on a page. But the thing that I like the most, and there's also, here's where you go to your setting, but the thing that I like the most is what's new and tips. When you click on that, Microsoft is going to take you to a page that is going to tell you what's new with Edge. So it'll show you how to stay, tell you the new features, how to stay productive, how to stay organized, how to stay safe. All of these, it will just have where there are different little tips and tricks that it will tell you about Edge. So if you want to learn more about Edge, you can come to this. Once you launch Edge, you just click on the settings and more, and then you can click on this and then choose what's new and tips. All right. So we took a look a little earlier at the task view, but let me show you some other features that you can use to help you manage working with multiple windows. So I don't know about you, but I know I keep multiple windows open all the time. So I may have multiple Word documents open. You see, I have PowerPoint open. I could have Outlook open. So how do you manage all of those windows? So I'm going to show you a feature called Snap. Now, I use this, and you can use Snap in Windows 7 as well. So let's take a look at how we could use the Snap feature. So I'm going to just put my mouse pointer up at the top of this document, and this is called the title bar. You see you see the name of the document, the blue bar, because we're in Word. But if you're in PowerPoint, it's orange or whatever color that is. So now I just hold down my left mouse button, and then I drag. So if I drag this to the upper left-hand corner, it will then move it over there, and as they call it, snap it. All right, if I take this document, I can move that like that. Now, a feature that is available in Windows 10 now is called Snap Assist. Notice that it automatically shows me all the other open windows that I have. Now all I have to do is say which one I want over on the left-hand side. I want this one over. So if I just drag this all the way over like this and do it this way, Snap Assist is doing this, and actually I wanted this one to be full. So let's do it this way. We'll just choose another one. And see now that I have 3 different windows, 2 on the left, 1 on the right. But I really want this window just to be the full one. So all I did was drag that over to the left, and it automatically snapped it to the left. So if I'm working in multiple documents, I can now say I want to take text and copy and then paste. And if you're a keyboard person, you can always select the text, press Control and C for copy, and then Control V to paste. So I can do that if I like to use shortcut keys, and then come over and I could do that. So I could have multiple windows open like this. There is another feature that I use, and I use this now on Windows 7 as well, and that they call it flip. Now, and that is where you hold down your Alt button, hold down your Alt key, and press Tab. You are able then to cycle through all your open windows. As long as you hold down the Tab key and, hold down the Alt key and press Tab, it will take me through my different windows. When I find the window that I want, then I just release the Tab button and it will bring that window up and maximize that window. So I like to use that one. Now I can do that again, press Alt, Tab, and go back to a different window. Once I release it, I can then see that window. Now notice this is the window that I had snapped to the right. If I want to quickly maximize it, you can click the maximize button, or I can just double click on the title bar where it says document 2, just double click and it will automatically maximize it. Now this is another feature of that you can use, let's say in, I'm going to maximize this one as well by just double clicking it. Now there is another feature and it's called Arrow Shake. It's a little strange name, but what you can do with that is if I wanted to minimize all of my other windows quickly and just keep my focus on this window, what I do is put my mouse up at the top at the title bar and then hold down the left mouse button and then watch what I do. I shake the screen and then notice everything else minimized. And the only thing I have is the window that I'm currently working in open, or I should say maximize. The rest of them are still open. Now, if I wanted to bring them back, now this one is tricky. It takes a little bit more, but I can repeat the same steps by just holding down my left mouse button and shaking my screen. Notice that the rest of them now came back in whatever way they brought them back up. So that one takes a little practice to get used to that. Now, the other great thing about Windows 10 is that Windows 10 is really made for, let's see, other devices other than just PCs. So if you're a person that has a tablet, you're able to use it in a touch mode. You would have to turn the setting on. Now, we'll take a look at that when I go over here and click on my Start menu, go back to our Windows button and click there. And what I'm going to do now is, well, let me just search for it this way in the Windows search field and type tablet. So when I type tablet, it'll bring up tablet mode settings. So when I click on that, it launches this. Now, just be mindful that in our environment right now, it says when it's signed in, it is set to use the appropriate mode for your hardware. So it will recognize whether or not you're on a tablet or whether or not you're on a PC. And so what it will do is then it will automatically say, if it notices that you're using a tablet, right now it will prompt you before it switches to the tablet mode. So this is a feature. When you're using tablet mode, then you're able to touch the screen and use it just like a tablet. So just be mindful of that. You can use Windows 10 in tablet mode or for PC. Also, the same thing, you can use it on your smartphone. So that is why Windows 10 is a little bit different than Windows 7. So we're kind of getting ready to kind of wrap up just our little brief sneak peek at Windows 10. So now I'm just going to ask if you have any questions before I move on to showing where you can find additional training resources. So is there any questions that you have about Windows 10? I'm looking at the chat box and I don't see that anybody has asked any questions as we were going along, but if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in now, and then I'll be more than happy to answer them. So I'm going to close out of our tablet mode. Okay, I do see a question here from Shannon. Okay. All right. Will the college offer discounts for us to get Windows 10 on our personal PCs or laptops? Now, I do believe, and you'll have to check this out, I don't necessarily think you may need a discount for this. I still think that Microsoft is offering you free. Okay. Okay, there is a free, yes. Melissa is talking about the free that you can download Windows 10 free. I think as long as you have either Windows 7 or Windows 8 on your personal PC or laptop, you can actually download Windows 10 for free. You just have to Google it. I think Microsoft is still making that available to everyone that they can do that. Yes. So if you have either Windows 7 or 8 on your personal PC or tablet, or it would be tablet because it would be Windows 10, or laptop, you should be able to download it for free. And I see there's a question, is there a cheat sheet? Great question. I'm going to show you where there are some additional training resources available to you, and that way you can just kind of get up to speed on Windows 10 before we actually go to it in the fall. So again, just letting you know, this webinar was just kind of a little tease to get you really interested in what's to come as far as Windows 10, which will be deployed in the fall, and we will have more in-depth training at that time. So in the meantime, if you have Windows 10 at home, I encourage you to take a closer look at it and become familiar with it. If you're going to take advantage of that free download, free upgrade to Windows 10, great. So let me show you where you can find the information. So I'm going to go to, let's see, I think I'm not sure if I have it open already. No, I have, but I'll do it this way. We're going to go to ask.pgcc.edu to go to Ask PGCC. Okay. And you're going to search for Windows. You can either search for it, or I'll just show you from the knowledge base. I'll show you both ways. If I search for Windows, it'll bring up anything that has Windows. If I go and look for it from the knowledge base, by clicking on that, I would then go to AV, Computers, Equipment, and Software, Microsoft. And then here you will see that there are a lot of different categories. We go to the Microsoft Windows category, and here's everything that is available for Microsoft Windows, and this is just Windows 10. If you see that there are tutorials, and these tutorials are very good. The GCF learnfree.org tutorials, you click on that link, it will take you through where there are frequently asked questions, the features, upgrading to Windows 10, getting started with, and so forth. I'm going to use my back button to go back. Then there's also Laptop Mag has how to use Windows 10. These are all tutorials that you can take a look at in your spare time. All of that is available to you. So let me go back and back one more. And then here are some knowledge articles. They're knowledge articles on how to change your setting, locate an application, locate files on your H drive, how to sign out. Now, as far as the cheat sheet, here we have it right here, the Microsoft Windows 10 Quick Reference Guide. If you click on that link, then scroll down, you will see that here in the Files section, you could either click on the PDF link and download it, or just click on the View button to quickly view the cheat sheet. And this will allow you to see some of the shortcut keys as well as how to quickly do certain features. Okay. So all of this is available. Now I'm going to go back to my tab where I'm in ASP PGCC. Also to let you know, a video of this recording will also be uploaded to Ask PGCC. I should have it uploaded by tomorrow. So in case you want to review it at a later time, you will be able to see some of the things that I covered during this webinar. It'll be a knowledge article, and you can just search for Windows 10 Techniques webinar, and it will and you'll be able to locate it in Ask PGCC. Okay, great. I'm glad that Jasmine, you like the fact that we have these wonderful resources. We try to do what we can to make sure that there's some things here and available to you. And I'm glad that Melissa, you didn't know they were there, and you're happy to see that that's there as well. Okay, thank you, Mark. I'm glad that you thought this was good information. And great. So just to let you know, we will definitely have more as we get ready to roll this out in the fall. There'll be more in-depth training. More than likely, it will be both on demand as well as face-to-face instructor-led training in the fall when we do upgrade to Windows 10. Just be mindful that if you do upgrade to Windows 10 at home, that it may be configured differently here at the college. There'll be some features that we may turn off just maybe for security purposes, or they may not apply to our environment here. But I do encourage you to, if you do not have Windows 10, go ahead and take advantage of the free upgrade and download it and get familiar with it, so that when we do roll out in the fall, you will have an upper hand and you'll be able to make the transition very quickly here in our environment. Great. I'm glad you like the mini tutorials. They are very quick, and yes, you can use these and practice on them at home. So if you have any other questions, please type them into the chat. If not, I thank you for your time and attention, and I appreciate you attending this webinar. And we hopefully will have try to have more webinars so that people can just quickly get on, and we usually have them for no more than 30 to 45 minutes. So I thank you and have a good day. You're welcome. Again, thanks for attending.